In all likelihood, there was no malicious intent behind it at all, but we have to be careful in situations like this. We're talking about a group of people who are already often singled out because they're different, because they come from a different country, because they have different needs. And so we need to take care, I think, to make sure that we don't do things that set them apart, and we enable them to be a part of our communities in as much as is possible. My party, Plaid Cymru, is all about trying to create and build a Wales whereby everybody can live side by side without anybody being hassled for reasons that are out with their control. So it's not so much that this particular issue in and of itself is a problem, or that there was malicious intent behind it, but that we must just take care to ensure that people who do arrive here, people who are refugees and who are escaping often really awful situations, that their bad situation is not compounded when they come and live in our communities with us.
I mean, do you think, for example, one of the reasons why people were asked to wear wristbands was so that employers could tell that they weren't eligible for jobs?
There could be a number of reasons why they were asked to wear wristbands. There were asylum seekers in Middlesbrough, I think, last week living behind red doors. There were perhaps other reasons for those being singled out, but it just isn't helpful. Look, I grew up in the 1980s when I was in school. We were singled out for having dinner tickets, free school meals, and current wisdom is that you shouldn't stigmatise children in that way, that they should be allowed to blend in, that they shouldn't be singled out. Why? Because kids are picked on when they're singled out in that way, in the same way as asylum seekers could be picked on, could be held and attacked even because they're easily identified as asylum seekers, and that's the problem here.
I do appreciate that, but there is also, as you know, a live argument at the moment involved in Britain's renegotiation of membership of the EU about the question of migrants to this country and their access to welfare.
I'm not sure that's got anything to do with asylum seekers. Asylum seekers are usually people who are escaping war-torn countries, usually fearful for their...
It wasn't the whole point in this case that they're entitled to food, and therefore that amounts to welfare. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I'm just saying that it's a more complicated issue, isn't it, than just saying these people shouldn't be singled out. They have, by definition, been singled out by their status.
But my argument to you is that you've raised the issue of the EU and the debate about whether people are entitled to welfare benefits if they move between member states in the EU, and I'm saying that's a completely different argument to whether or not asylum seekers should be wearing identifiable wristbands.
No, it's about whether or not people need to be distinguished within community, given the public concerns about the level of migration and indeed asylum seeking.
Well, because of those levels of concern and because of what can arise out of those levels of concern, people can be harassed, there can be and there has been an increase in racially motivated crimes, for example. That's all the more reason why people shouldn't be singled out. Surely we want to create communities and a society whereby people can live together, and when people are forced to leave their homeland and live in another country, then they should have an easy ride of it, and they shouldn't be put in a situation where they can be singled out for harassment and potential attack.
And do you feel that photo ID cards are a satisfactory resolution to this? Because that's what I understand the contractors are going to issue.
Well, if it's a case of being able to show some sort of identification in order to receive an entitlement for food or something like that, then that can be done through the use of some sort of ID card. But some sort of permanent feature that people are forced to display in public to single them out as a particular vulnerable group potentially, then that's what I object to, and I think many other people do as well.
OK, some people might say the problems in society of people who want to stigmatise people or interfere with their lives, not necessarily with the wearing of wristbands.
Well, I think that we all want to live, don't we, in a society where people live happily together and without conflict and without people being put at risk of harm. And where, you know, and some of these people who've been forced to wear these wristbands have said that they've been harassed and ridiculed and they've had problems as a result of it. Surely we must take those concerns seriously and act upon them. Anyway, the company have said now that they're going to withdraw them, so they obviously accept it as a problem too.
Yeah, well, thank you.